Okay, yo, what is going on, everybody? I hope everybody's all right. Everybody doing good. This is the first day back with the live streams. It has been since what, May, I'm tripping. Since December 17th, I believe. 18th. I think that was the last one. And now we on here with this one today. And we got a great few hot topics that we're gonna be discussing and unpacking. But I'm not gonna lie, there's a few of them y'all blowing me. So I can't wait to get into this. I have a guest, you can see him. So go ahead and introduce yourself, my boy. Tell the people what your name is, where you're from, and what it is you do for a living. You muted. You're muted.
Ah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm good to go. My bad. I'm so used to like Zoom etiquette that I usually turn on my mic off if I'm not speaking. But man, no, first and foremost, it's an honor to be here on here. My name is Nate Evans Jr. Located in New Jersey, South Jersey to be specific. I am a husband, father, mental health advocate, international speaker, business owner, author, all of the above. Really just somebody, a man who had the God's own heart and really looking to just bless people and help them to gain clarity on what it is that they're going through with their mental health. Because I was somebody who really struggled with depression, with anxiety. And for me, it's really pivotal that I help others kind of get over that hump as well.
No, for sure, definitely. And those things I can actually relate to too, as we've discussed on the podcast several times, which you haven't been on yet, and we're gonna have you interview when season 8 comes. Season 8's not gonna come till like April, so we got plenty of time. um so hopefully you'll be down for that when the time is right.
Or
Okay, so first let me get into, can you hear anything in my background? Oh, it's good.
no, I don't hear nothing.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. So let me get to the first topic for today because I just, it's a little, it's not, it is. It is. I'm just going to call it what it is. Okay. So Fredo Bang would consider smashing aliens if they're thick enough. It's possible. Now,
Mm,
I told y'all going into this episode, I said it was going to be some things I wanted to discuss that I'm sick of y'all with, and this is one of them. And as men, this is a terrible thing to say publicly because it pushes the narrative, not just of men, but especially men in this society that we're in now.
hmm.
So this was from Ball Alert, as y'all can see. It says during the press run for his new album, it's called Yes, I'm Sad, which I'm gonna unpack that. It says the rapper sat down with the big homie's house where the subject matter of not aliens are real came up. Specifically, Bang was asked what he thought about the internet rumor that had landed in Miami recently after a sizable unexplained police presence had left social media buzzing. While he wasn't totally familiar with the situation, he said, "Did you hear about it?" Which led him to a hilarious follow up question. Bang was questioned about whether he would entertain the idea of sleeping with the alien if it had a sufficient level of thickness. Bang wasn't exactly opposed to the idea as long as the alien was safe. You asking me if I would F an alien? I can't say I wouldn't. I'll have to investigate, make sure everything is everything. It's possible. He answered honestly. Okay, so this is one of these rappers, these newer generation rappers, for those that don't know, and this is not the one we're gonna dissect with the segments because I'm gonna just give my take on this real quick, and then of course you can follow up. So I don't listen to none of his music, and I think it's interesting that he has an album called Yes, I'm Sad, which to me, these people are telling you blatantly that they are depressed, that they're going through it, all of that, and when he talks about having sex with an alien, it pushes the narrative that this generation that is out is so sexually driven to the point where that would even cross your mind. Like what put well, I know what possessed you, but why do you feel that that's okay to say publicly?
Mm.
What's your take on that before I say something else?
Um, Honestly, I feel like the mindset is why isn't it okay for me to say it publicly? I feel like it's always the combative question. It's like, why not? You know what I mean? Something as wild as a statement as that. It's like, why can't I say it? Why shouldn't I be able to do it? And it's really a cry, or let me say this: I believe the cry for help. Um, and unfortunately, a lot of these younger artists, I'm not familiar with too many of them, but the ones I am familiar with, they're given these platforms and they're almost just expressing all of the things that we really don't need to know via these platforms. And it's not healthy because it goes out into the masses, and what happens is it gets critiqued, and they get attacked and all different types of things. It's just a really dangerous space to be in. I'm assuming he has a nice following of young people following him, who are also in that mindset of I'm sad too, I'm depressed too. So they relate to it, but at the same time, it becomes toxic because there's no release from it.
My thing too with that, and I agree. Like I said, I like the whole debate thing where you said, "Why not say it?" Right? And I'm all for being your authentic self, no matter how crazy that might be in some cases. But in
Hmm.
this situation, as a man, it kind of seems like, just based on which I didn't know that, but he's on the press run for his album. So it would make sense to say something outrageous and outlandish so people to pay attention to you. And then, okay, boom, now they're going to push that out. Now it's going to be like, let me see what your album about. You talking crazy. You talking about this on your album, maybe? I don't know. I want to see what it's about.
Hmm.
So that goes to another conversation and another layer. Do you feel that as a man, I'm sure you can, and there are some instances where it's needed. But do you think that everything is smart to do the most wild and outlandish things for eyes, if that makes sense?
Yeah, nah, I think it's really foolish behavior. Because we're in the internet age, so it's not going nowhere. So if this young
Right.
man does make a transformation in his life, which I pray he does, it's like this is going to live on. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's going to always be there. It's going to be something that people can always pull a receipt from. We see it all the time with comedians. They pulled
We
that
getting
stuff
that
up
ass.
on Kevin Hart years later about him and the comments he made and LGBTQ. All of this stuff is just like, man. So for what he's putting out now, this content is like this is going to live with you, bro. This is going to live with you, and I think we need to be more mindful of what we are putting out into the internet, because it's one of those spaces, man. Like once it's out there, it's there. Even if you erase it, it's there somewhere. People find receipts quick.
They find receipts quick, and what I don't like about the whole situation is it's just like this, and like I said, you do get that prayer, that transformation, and obviously you can be redeemed, and we believe that you'll be delivered from any shame that may be still there, that when you do get delivered. And and I'm a firm believer you'll be allowed to say the craziest stuff, so that when you get cleaned up and set free, you can say, I went from this to this. We see Holy Gabbana, we see he Woe Vicky, and then just many more to come, because it's something that I'm sure this year that's gonna pop up, that's gonna have people's jaws on the ground. But
Hmm.
I just think that it's unfortunate that this generation, and I want to put in the link on the YouTube for y'all to check it out. My last episode of this past season was the As a Man series. Part 1 was about As a Man, why you blocking people, and then part 2 was As a Man, why you have OnlyFans. And it, again, we just
Hmm.
sent around this generation being so sexually driven. And as I said in that episode, these people are so sexually driven. That's why we have probably the most fluid generation ever, because if after a while you keep doing this, it's like the drugs. You tried. I mean, they say weed is a gateway drug. Actually, I know people where it actually was a gateway drug. Then on the same end, I know most people it wasn't. But I have seen people where it started as the gateway drug, as the old folks say, and then it
Hmm.
literally transitioned into the most extremes. But I feel like this generation is like that with sex. It's like this, and just and I don't like to blast nobody, but we even the situation that happened many months, well, not many months, but months ago, with like the Dwight Howard thing. I believe in his situation based on things that was presented. It was one of those, okay, I tried this. Okay, now try this. Okay, now try this. Now try this. So what you end up doing at the end, you probably wouldn't have did that at first. But
Right.
as time progressed and you start entertaining stuff, it just gets worse and worse. So
Right. Right.
I it's just interesting to see. And we not even, I mean, we more than halfway through the month, but like this year has started off with a bang.
Yeah,
And
for sure. That's for sure.
so before I go to the next topic, anything going on that you got that you working on, or any speaking engagements coming up you want to talk about or discuss?
Yeah, I mean, I do got a few engagements coming up. I think next month I start traveling again, so I'll be in Florida for a little bit, Chicago. I'll be in Mexico City halfway through the year, which is pretty cool. And then I'm hosting my own summit in Philadelphia, May 24th and 25th. It's a big summit. We'll be doing a 2-day summit based around mental health, emotional wellness, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. I'm flying in speakers, all of that stuff. So it's called Get to Worthy. And yeah, it's gonna be a really, really dope event in Philadelphia.
How much would tickets be going for? Because I don't lie, I wouldn't mind coming to that, and it's a good excuse for me to get out of town. So, how anybody can get tickets? How much would that be? Like,
So we haven't finalized ticket sales. They're probably gonna be close to 100, but they will. We release tickets. I want to say in another week. So
okay,
if you're watching this, go to our IG page or Facebook. Go to Get to Worthy, and you'll be getting a full official launch. I'll be meeting with my team this week, and we'll be talking about it. But I think it's gonna be around that price range for the 2 days. But
okay.
it's gonna be a fire event. People really gonna be getting healed in that place too.
And it's funny because we live in a society where now, and I don't want to get too far in it, but we have to. Deliverance is gonna come in more ways than just the church, and I'm not saying we ain't going there. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's gonna come in more ways than just that, and there's gonna be so many different methods and avenues in these coming years that it's going to. If they would have did it 5 to 10 years ago, it'd have been like that ain't it. But now it's
Hmm.
it's getting there. Okay, so the next topic. So Waka Flocka asked Dr. Trump, Donald Trump. He said, "Dear Trump, abolish Christopher Columbus Day as a what's called black man in United States. A lot of typos. This holiday is a spit in our faces. Thanks from Waka Flocka Flame and the people." All right. So now let's get into the first just unpacking of where it go. What does this have to do with mental health? So as a black man, I get it. The desire to abolish this holiday, which he says is a spit in the face of black people. Um, But I just feel like if you go about abolishing that, it's just gonna have to be a bunch of stuff that gets abolished, which is possible to do. But unfortunately, and maybe this is my ignorance, I hope they don't cancel me. I feel like we got bigger fish to fry than worry about canceling Columbus Day because you're gonna be off, and as black people, you're gonna barbecue and you're gonna cook. So,
Hmm.
what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely bigger fish to fry. I don't want to say it's irrelevant because it's
Yeah,
important. You know what I mean? It's important. Like you said, we are going to take that holiday off though. Ain't nobody gonna be like, I'm gonna go to work anyway. It's like, nah, you're not doing that. Like,
no,
go and
because who
take the
got time
day
for that?
off, and while you at it, go and call out for Martin Luther King Day too. While you at it. But it's one of those things where I feel like you cancel the day, then what?
Right.
Is that a win in our book? You know what I mean? And it might be. For me, that there are much bigger issues. It's interesting because I'm down in Atlantic City, right? And when you come to Atlantic City through the expressway, we have this thing called the Walk, and the Walk is like the Nike outlet and Gucci outlets, all of these different places. And in the middle of the Walk, there used to be a big Christopher Columbus like statue.
Mm,
And during the whole stuff with George Floyd, I want to say like it got vandalized really bad or something like that, and ended up taking it down and like getting rid of a bunch of like racist statues in the city. Um, while it was dope, I'm not going to say that it changed the aspects of the city. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was what it was. Again, I'm all for getting rid of it and abolishing it, but there are much bigger fish to fry, especially for Black people, that we should be really focused on. That's just kind of my thought behind it.
for sure. So let's go into WWID, which is what would I do in this situation? So first of all, I wouldn't have done anything because I don't care enough about Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah.
But if I have that platform and those eyes, and not saying he don't use his platform, I don't study Waka Flocka on that angle. Because I have heard in the past, I heard him say some things I thought was pretty decent. But if I'm going to have the eyes on me to tweet a president, I feel like I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to go to Black Round talk about stimmies because what they would say. I will be talking about what would I talk about? That's actually a good question. So I'm a lob it to you and come back. What would you if you had them eyes and you could get the eyes of a president, ex-president, future president again because you just never know? What would you use your platform to do with all them eyes on you?
Man, that's a great question. That's probably something that we should all take some time to sit and think about. Not that we would ever be in that position,
Yeah,
but it's like I feel like we can also be throwing stones from outside. You know what I mean? It's kind of like,
right. Yeah,
man, you need to be in there talking about this, this, and this. But it's like if you were in there, what would you be talking
yeah.
about? Honestly, I think it would be awkward to be in there with him first and foremost. That would be super awkward. And at the same time, I don't know if I would be talking anything about like holidays. You know what
That's
I
what I'm saying.
mean? I'll be trying to figure out some type of policy, something in regards to prison reform, um, uh, uh, something regards to prison reform or fixing like the food disparities. Like I would be focused on maybe much bigger issues than this holiday thing. But I'm not 100% clear on what that would be. But that is a great question for me to kind of muse on. You never know what could happen in the future. You get that opportunity to
You
like
don't.
really voice yourself. I want to make sure that I have something of value. And again, I think that the thing is too, that's a loaded question, right? Because there's a lot of pressure to be like, yeah, you black, what you gonna say when you get in there? It's like, "Ugh." You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like we gotta attack one thing at a time.
No, for sure.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure. I think if I was in that position, I mean it would be something of importance. I don't want I'm and not saying it's not important because I feel like it's so many people doing the mental health stuff now, which is good, and they're definitely making waves. I feel like
Absolutely.
maybe I would do something that would center around because just having open dialogue about certain things. Maybe I see those videos on YouTube where I see the people, they'll sit down like a racist and a southern black person or whatever, or they'll sit
Yeah, I've
down
seen that.
um the person who's a pastor and then a atheist and those type of situations. I think honestly we do need more of those, not so we can, well, some people gonna get converted, but more so from the angle of we need more of those just to show you that I'm still gonna believe what I believe, and in some areas that's needed. Some people do need to conform, but just to show like I can have an open conversation with you and not attack you and try to tell you this is what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just
Hmm.
needed. Although, yeah, okay, all right,
Yeah.
so now it's funny because this goes to the next one. WWJD, what would Jesus do in this situation? Well, we all know in this situation, the most morally and ethically thing to do is he would talk to the presidents, calling out things that are legal that are an issue, that
Hmm.
are not ethically, morally, sound. It's biblically sound if it was Jesus, but anybody even striving to be like that, things that weren't, sound like, you know, what's some hot topics they didn't talked about? I'm sure an abortion would pop up. I'm
Hmm.
sure a few other topics that I couldn't think of at the moment that would just we know will be attacked or just have a conversation about. And
Yeah.
although a lot of these people who are get catching hell for speaking out about certain things and they are right, I would love to see, because I can't tell you how God told you to say it. I'm a firm believer. Somebody he might say, go yell and tell it like this with this authoritative voice. And some people he might say, let's go just have a conversation. But I think it's like I see the power. I see like the need for both. But I definitely want to see more people again have those types of conversations about why this is wrong from a sitting down conversation like this, or why that's not okay to do. Now, I'm not going to throw a stone at you. I'm not going to just be silent either, because I think a lot of times in our society we think that we should just not say nothing. And even me, as opinionated and as loud, sometimes I'm like, let me just not say nothing because they're not going to listen anyway.
Right.
So
It's the
what would be your
assumption.
strategy to somebody who speaks? I see your stuff, I repost your stuff all the time, in a situation where you know they're not going to listen, but you got to say something.
Yeah, I mean, you go into the situation. One of my biggest things is to not make assumptions. So
Right.
it's like in my brain, I'm like, nah, they gonna respond this way, and they might, you know what I mean. But at the same time, it's like, all right, let me give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe this time would be different. So you go into it with that mindset of like, look, I'm not gonna make assumptions. I'm gonna come into this thing gracefully, peacefully, and try to express myself the best way possible without offending anybody, but making sure I'm standing firm on my points. I feel like that's the way I would go about it. You know what I mean? That's the way I see to be the most effective. And from there, it's kind of wherever it goes from there, it goes, but it's like it has to happen. You know what I mean? You got to be bold enough to at least step up and have the conversation.
Yeah.
But again, don't hinder yourself by making the assumption that it's going to go sideways or they're not going to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, well, let's go on to the next one. I'm gonna say what I say. So WSMD, what should men do in a situation like this? Now, before I get into that, I will say that is true because it's times where I would, I had my old therapist. So I had two different therapists. I had a black woman at first one time, and then I had a black man who was not that much older. Well, I was like 26 at the time. He was like 34, so he was a little older than me.
Okay.
But they were both totally different, both effective. And I remember the black man, he was just kind of like, he said he loves awkward those awkward conversations. And it was
Mm,
going through a period of my life where I needed to have them frequently. And it was crazy how it happened. But I think that it was one conversation I had where I was just like, oh, I know they're going to respond like this. I don't even want to do it. And then I had it, and it actually went much better than expected.
oh, praise
So
God.
yeah, so although if Waka Flocka felt like this was something he really wanted to know, or he could have been trolling, I don't know, or it could have been both. Because sometimes you could be real and trolling at the same time. Like I'm
Facts.
really the person where it's like get you the best, somebody that can do both. But I really believe that in this situation, if you had them eyes on you an opportunity, because again, you're a celebrity, you might not have known that was gonna get picked up by the blogs, but you knew people was gonna see it.
Hmm.
And you knew even if Trump don't respond, he gonna see it. So
Hmm.
in this situation, it's kind of like if you're going to use this to have a conversation about something of importance, should you tweet it? Maybe. Should you DM it? But then again, if you tweet it, like I said, I feel like the eyes gonna come. So that was maybe the point of that. I just think that again, just going back to the top original point, we got bigger fish to fry. Although this is important.
Yeah, I think we live in a world now where everybody's always had opinions, but for some reason we feel like we want to express those opinions at all times, even if
Mhm.
it's not appropriate or the right setting for it. It's like I'm gonna voice my opinion, and it's like I feel you. That's your right, but also there's a certain etiquette too. It's kind of like I ain't got to share everything that's going on in my mind right now.
Right.
I ain't got to share every thought. Y'all don't need to see all of that or hear all of that. That could have been something he just kept to the pocket, kept cuff. If it came out, it came out. Maybe somebody else may have heard it, him talk about it, but it's like he didn't have to bring it to light. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've become I can't even say he had an agenda behind it because we've become so used to expressing our every thoughts via social media.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, so now let's move on to the next topic for today. This is one where I wish I was, how you say, active when this topic came up. So we know a few weeks ago, Cat Williams went viral for clowning everybody. And not saying that was his intentional goal because I believe he was telling his truth. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying he's lying because I don't personally think he is, especially I don't think he's lying because of the way them people reacted. Because in my life, when I've and one of my homeboys, I used to be in a lot of major conflict back in the day. He will always say, "Yes." He made a joke. He said, "Is I think you're a prophet or something." He said because you be saying stuff about people, and then you've been right literally every time. And even as a kid, I would be right, even if I ignored it myself. And even when I would have discrepancies with people, one thing I noticed, I actually got this revelation of the day. Whenever I would say something, I always said my story, no matter whether nobody believed it or not. And like I said, I could just be a good liar. My story always stayed the same. These people's story will go up here, down here, then they bring this in, and then they add something else, then there's something they forgot about, then they leave that part out the next time, then they change up who told them this. And it's always all over the place. And then whenever we would be like in a situation where it's discussed, they felt the need to keep over talking me. And it's like, if you telling the truth, why do you keep needing to over talk me? Because if I believe you telling the truth, I'm just gonna let you talk. But see, people
Right,
don't want their truth to get out.
right.
So Cat Williams went, we saw what he did, and he went on Shannon Sharpe, gave Shannon Sharpe the ratings. He was getting the ratings, but he really got them now.
Yeah.
So recently, Dave Chappelle called him out for dissing other comedians, and I have the article and I'm going to show it on screen, but I'm not reading all of this because this is not story time. All right, so Dave Chappelle calls out Cat Williams dissing black comedians. Why are you drawing ugly pictures of us? So he shared his thoughts on Cash Williams on Club Shay Shay. He spoke about Williams on stage at the Hollywood Improv on Friday and event hosted. He said that what part of the game is this? he only ethered niggas. He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. None of them white boys function like that. Chappelle said of Williams during his set, Katt is one of the best painters in the game. So why are you drawing an ugly picture of us? Stop. He then went on to say, which hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people. And he does it all the time. F this one and F that one and F this one, Chappelle said, impersonating Williams. But nigga, I didn't hear anything that you did wrong. He didn't do nothing wrong. Katt didn't do nothing wrong. Katt was talking about stuff that niggas did to other niggas, but not about anything the niggas did to him. He then went on to say, if he told his story would break your heart, and that he lost everything and never told on anybody. He went on to say that he does F with Katt hard, but question why Williams will call out his peers when all of us are trying to be in a better situation. Okay, so a lot to unpack there. So I'm first going to jump into it again, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So first and foremost, we don't have no statistics like I normally do on the show, but just mental health, the way we act, think, and feel. You stated you mess with him hard, because I like them both. You messed with Katt hard, right? You didn't say what he said was a lie. Nobody has said, well, a few people say he was lying, but they lied, so it's kind of like, But you didn't say what he said was a lie. You said he could have went about it a better way. If you mess with him hard, I get that y'all are celebrities and everybody can say what they want to say. I just feel like Dave, if they really mess with him like he said, it'd be different. Like, you cool with somebody in passing. I'm sure me and you both have people on social media where it's like we cool in passing. But then there's some people we actually rock with. I just feel like I get what he's saying, calling out Katt sound like you hurt and you just never saying what you did wrong. Because he was like, so you ain't never did nothing wrong, which that does ask a good question. I just feel like, again, and so many people do stuff like this, even in the regular world, celebrity world.
Right.
I just feel like this would have been better, a text, a call, or even if you, and he didn't, and he might have said it to him privately, but I feel like if you're going to say it publicly, I feel like he should have said it privately first. That's just how. So what is your take on how this would,
Yeah, I mean, I watched the the interview. I was glued to the interview, honestly. Not even because of like the jokes or how he was, quote unquote attacking certain comedians. To me, it was like a masterclass in storytelling. He pretty much did a whole comedy set in that whole interview. If you look back at it and really dissect it, like he was telling jokes, like it was phenomenal to me. And like you said, I haven't seen anyone come out and say he's lying. That was anybody credible. It was just kind of like, oh man, we being attacked. So I don't know who's telling the truth, but he seemed very believable. I'm gonna be honest, the conviction that he had and the things he was sharing. I also watched Chappelle's new special where he kind of mentioned it, but he didn't go into detail like that article did. I was kind of surprised by the article you just shared, and Chappelle's kind of like thoughts on that. But I think also because when you're friends with certain people, you stick up for them to a certain extent, and I feel like that's what he was kind of doing in that aspect. All in all, though, I don't think it's a comedian issue or a black on black issue. I think he felt disrespected to the highest degree. And I personally think that no matter who it was that would have disrespected him on that kind of platform, I think he would have got all of them. I just think that was the agenda when he got on. Like, I got to tell the truth. You know what I mean? I can't let them tell lies. It just happened to be these black comedians. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tough, man. It's rough to see at one aspect, and the other side is like I can appreciate somebody stepping up for themselves as well. Like, because he's not necessarily like, I didn't see him being a bully on there, if that makes sense. It was kind of like y'all all had a chance to go on before him and y'all said some stuff that he thought was false. And he addressed it in a very comedic way. And he went on and on and on, sharing different stories and intimate things we just didn't know. And I think he has the leverage to do that because of his platform. Like, he doesn't have sponsors. He's not put on by Hollywood. From my understanding, he's funding all his own comedy tours. So he's really doing it to where it's like, hey, I can get up here and tell the truth and tell my truth. So it's a hairy situation because I love them both. You know, I'm a
Same,
Cat Williams fan. I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan. I seen him live
same.
before. I enjoy Kevin Hart. I enjoy the others as well. It's tough when it gets to this, um, because then I feel like also, and I don't know if we're going to get to this point. I feel like there's another audience that's not necessarily laughing with us, but laughing at us.
Exactly. So let's jump right into WWID. So what would I do in this situation? So like I kind of briefly touched on it, and I'm gonna piggyback off you. I would have rather it be a conversation over the phone. It might have happened. We don't know, and everything they're not gonna reveal, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I feel as though I get what he's saying. It's kind of like we still the butt of the jokes for the white people because they all
Mhm.
just laughing. It was like the white boys don't be doing this, but then in the same time, his history. We going off history. He don't have the problem with the white people, so why would he go at them? So I
Yeah.
get it's kind of like and I'm sure Cat Williams is a very smart person. I'm sure he thought about all of that. Like, well,
Yeah.
this gonna look bad, because the white boys gonna be doing this, and I ain't coming at no white people. I'm only coming at the black people, and they kind of make it look like he crazy. But it's just like I get that, but sometimes here's the thing though: when you called to speak on something, and I'm not saying he was called to speak on it. I'm using this as a point of reference because there's when other people are,
Right.
there's gonna be somebody that find fault in what you're saying.
Facts.
So and find you shouldn't have did it like this, or it shouldn't have been that. If that's why we live in an age where some people they shouldn't have said it that aggressive, and it's like you could have worded that better. But then at the same breath, we even take it back to the Bible. Them people was told to say it a certain way, and
Mhm.
was told behind. I say behind closed doors because God was telling them they're not gonna receive it. They're gonna hate you, but say it anyway. So there are, and not saying God told him to do that. I don't know, but I'm just saying there are instances where we're going to see people. Well, we already started, but we're really going to see people say things, and it's going to be like they shouldn't have said it like that. They doing it, but they were supposed to. And
Mhm.
then my thing is, I take that to a friendship conversation. Now, this is not an excuse to be rude and disrespectful, but if somebody say something to you in a harsh way, my first reaction is, was they lying? If they lying, okay. But if they telling the truth, you could still maybe say like you could have said it better. But was they lying though? You know what I'm saying? I just think that we live in a society where everybody wants to dish it, but they can't take it, and that's
Mhm.
my issue. So
No, I agree. I agree. And I think that's what we saw. We saw someone who felt like he's been mistreated or misspoken of, and I don't know what it was about 2024 and this year, but he felt like, all right, enough's enough. And he came out guns blazing. And yeah, we got what we got. One of the most viewed interviews ever.
So now WWJD ethically and the most ethically morally thing to do in a situation like this. So I'm gonna just go based off. We ain't go the whole interview. I'm just gonna base off Dave Chappelle and then Cat Williams. So um based on what was said, basically Dave Chappelle uses in a stand-up, basically, and that's how I got pushed to where it was. I still believe that he could have did both. I'm gonna keep saying that to where it would have been if we going just based off what would Jesus do. First of all, he wouldn't have probably made jokes about it, but if we going off the ethically thing, the most morally correct thing to do, I think that he probably shouldn't have probably shouldn't have publicly spoken on it at this moment. I think it was too soon for the jokes. I think this was something maybe later down the line, maybe. If he was gonna joke about it, I still think that he would have probably said like just I would feel like even just check, even if he didn't agree with him, just check in on him. How you doing? You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And maybe say, just something like that. What you want to add to that before we go to the next one?
No, I agree. I think one of those things where it's like, give it a little time to breathe. It's a sensitive situation. It's it's had a greater impact than that Chris Rock slap, and we gave that some time. You know what I mean? And so it's like
Yeah.
this right here. We should have just gave he. I feel like he could have gave it a little more time. Like you said, it could have been a conversation. It could have been something offline where it's like, hey, I ain't gonna put this in a comedy on my set because that means you've also thought about using this material now for laughs.
Yeah.
So I mean, are you any different than Cat Williams at the end of the day?
Right.
So I think he should have took a little time with it. There should have been definitely some type of dialogue between them as like brothers in the industry. But
Yeah.
more important, like you said, just a check in. Like, yo, you good? I look, things is getting crazy, man. Y'all all my dudes. Like, what? You straight?
I just feel like you know everybody at his head right now. So why you adding flame to the fire? It's kind of like if you on at school growing up and people joning, and one person, say for instance, because I've been here, say somebody going in on you real bad, and you rebuttal, and it's something that maybe is hurtful, and your friend, instead of saying staying out of it, your friend telling people, yeah, he took it too far. Why are you getting involved? Stay out of it. Like, you know what I mean? I just felt like you could have said that later instead of telling everybody, yeah, he went too far. You should have just been like, just change the subject. I'm the king of changing the subject. If I don't want to talk about something, we gonna change it. And I do it so well, people don't even realize till it's too late.
Nah, that's
All
facts.
right. So what should men do in this situation? Again, I think that we go back to Fredo Bang. I think that certain things just don't need to be on the internet. I think that we live in that world, but I just think that there's other ways to go about it. And I'm more so for taking what he did do, taking the shade and getting paid off of it, which Dave Chappelle technically did, although it really don't have nothing to do with him. But I'm the type person where I'm going to, like, if I ever, and you hearing this first, so remember when you see it, if it happens, you heard it. If say for somebody came at me for something I said publicly and it made the blogs, I'm going to have a sit down with them on the podcast. I'm gonna get a check off this. We're gonna have this dialogue, but we're gonna I'm gonna get a check off this because I'm not finna clap back at you online. Now, if this was maybe 6 years ago, you might have got what you was looking for. These days, I ain't on that. So, I'm gonna get a check from it. I ain't gonna do it for free, and I ain't even gonna come at you sideways. I'm really just gonna unpack it. I just think
Yeah,
people just go ahead, my
I
bad.
think there was many ways to like leverage this in a positive way. Obviously, I think Cat's on tour right now, doing this thing. But I think as men, man, we need to learn how to better communicate, if that makes sense.
No,
Again,
you're
I don't
right.
know the extent of anyone's relationship that was talked about. They all seem pretty close, at least close enough to have a phone conversation. You know what I mean? Or at
Right.
least close enough to run into a spot together and, yo, let's break bread over lunch, man. Look, X, Y, and Z. Let's talk. I think if we had more of that, then we have less of the Cat Williams on the Club Shay Shay kind of situation. We have less of the tension and the negativity online. And um, I think would the Trick Daddy jump on there too? It was a bunch of people just coming for Cat Williams after that. But again, nobody said he lied. Nobody said he lied, but they felt the way. But I think as men, man, if we can put down our pride and like really have those conversations, we can de-escalate a lot. And then not for nothing, this was tough for the younger generation of comedians to watch too, because it's like, oh, what are we getting into?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, oh snap, this is real cutthroat out here. I thought that we was family in the comedy world. So
Yeah.
it's like everybody's watching their back, watching your deals. Nobody feel like they can trust anybody now. So it's real. And now they feel like they also have to pick a side. Am I rolling with Cat because that's my dude? Or if I'm going, you know what, I really like Kevin though. We did some movies and stuff together. He put me on. But man, Cat was really, it makes it awkward for everybody.
It does, and that's the problem. And it make it awkward. And now it's just like, what do we do now? That's it's just like, what do we do
Yeah.
now? You know?
That's pretty much where we at now. We at the point where it's like, all right, what happens next? Some people aren't responding. I don't think Steve Harvey responded. I know
Mm-mm.
Kevin Hart's kind of dodged a lot of the responses. He
He
just kind
said,
of
got to
kept
get
doing his
that.
thing.
He was just like, it was passive aggressive. He was just like, got to get that hate about your heart, brother. Anyway, new movie coming soon, and it's just was like that was a white woman response, but
Yeah, that's not what we wanted, especially as a man. It's like we need a little bit more, but I get it. It's the whole hustle hard thing. It's the way to go about it. I'm gonna just positivity it out, and it's like I feel you, but as men, we got to learn how to have these tough conversations too.
exactly, exactly. And speaking of tough conversations, we going into the last segment of the night. So everybody knows two people who they ain't shine down from no conversation. They both got miles. They both do the most, and that's Soldier Boy and Blueface, baby. And Blueface literally has rebranded as a troll. I feel like 6ix9ine is on vacation, so he like, I'm taking his spot. And basically, I'm not going over the whole story, but long story short, Blueface has said some stuff about Soulja Boy, and then he's basically trying to pay him to like, let's not even go there. But Soulja Boy had a nice response. Well, it ain't nice, but it's a response that I wanted to discuss, and we're about to check that out now to see how Soulja Boy responded to Blueface after all of the controversy. So let's get into that. All right.
They give me the respect, you know what I'm saying? But like now they do, you know what I'm saying? Now they turned up on everybody's ass. Now they give me the respect, you know what I'm saying? But like the new generation and the young people in the music industry, they know what I did.
Now sitting in jail, broke as you know what I'm saying? You want to talk baby mamas? You go get it to your baby mama right here, put it in her mouth while you in jail. You know she gonna need some in her mouth for Valentine's Day. Now you can't even give it to her because you out here trolling. And you done went broke. You go to jail, I get 1.5 million the same day. Hey, God, real as somebody tell Blue Bud I'm gonna put some money on his books. Psych. You gonna starve. You gotta eat commissary. You gotta eat pork and beans and ding-a-ling. We out here drinking lean and eating steak and shrimp. And bad. I got my sucked last night. Did you? They talking about, oh, you popping it because he was locked up. I was popping it before he went to jail. I said, let's meet up and die. You better hope I don't pay somebody $2 while you in there. I'm finna send the booty bandits. Fuck that. Who needs some noodles? Who needs some money on their books, man? What a booty bandits at, man? You want to be out here, right? We gonna have somebody your. How about that? You gonna get that booty hole touched, boy? They said you called this. I told them when we was on the live. I said, hey, bro, you gonna go to jail. You talking about, I'm from Wooty Wooty Woo. Where you from? Nowhere. Nigga Rico knocking that nigga's doors every night. He can't wait to pick. Hey, Rico, he can't wait to come pick your ass up.
Okay, I had enough. So that was a little graphic, but they bleeped everything out, so that's good. But y'all can read in between the lines. So let's get into it. All right, so WWID. All right, let's first of all go. My bad. We got to go to what does this have to do with mental health? So, okay, trolling online today because both of them are known trolls. So that's the battle of the trolls. That's a lot. That's a lot, and that lifestyle of just the drinking, the partying, the smoking excessively, the doing drugs excessively, it just Soulja Boy. First of all, he sounds like the Joker, so that's a little scary. But I think that this is a lesson. You know, it's an old phrase that I love. It says, "Smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others." So hopefully these youngins see the Fredo Bangs and the Bluefaces and they say, let's stop talking about this stuff online. You know, let's just and that's the issue. These people keep talking about stuff online. And now Blueface is in jail. He'll probably be out soon. I don't know how this stuff works, but mentally in jail, you getting trolled and getting attacked. It's just like I feel like that has to be a lot.
Yeah.
So have you ever been in jail before?
Nah, I don't plan on going. And only way, I mean, if something happened with my family, maybe, but I don't plan on going. I don't know why dudes be wanting to go. I think the whole situation. So Soulja Boy has a track record of like something's mentally off. You know what I mean? My wife used to watch this reality show. It's like celebrity couples or something. And he'd be chilling one moment, and then the next he like flipping out on his lady, like wilding out like a little kid. Like he hasn't grown past like 15 years old. And he would just have these fits, man. He fall out and all of this. So this kind of behavior from him isn't surprising to me. It's disappointing. You know what I mean? But it's not surprising. I think it's his method of staying relevant. I feel like he thrives and lives for attention, negative or positive. He needs it though.
Yeah. So WWID, what would I do in this situation? So since we on that topic of men and attention, what do you think? It's so many things, but what do you think is the root of people having these situations? Not having these situations, but what do you think the root is of people who men who act like that, who are act like kids, basically?
Yeah. I think it goes back to what I said. They've made attention an idol. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like the dude that's in school doing the stupidest stuff. He pulling the fire alarm, he kicking down doors, he in the lunchroom wilding out back in high school. It's like, bro, what are you doing all this for? But people thought he was funny for it. You know what I mean? People thought he was cool for it or whatever the case may be. So it's like, if y'all think that this is cool, if I'm getting any kind of affirmation, even if it's negative, I'm gonna continue this behavior. Soldier Boy just happens to be somebody who has a few dollars, but he's no different than a kid in high school wilding out for attention. He just has a
Yeah.
few dollars, so it's like now it's heightened. Who's walking around with $1 million in cash for what? What for what reason? I'm walking around $1 million in cash. I'm throwing money in the house. I'm talking about this. I'm doing that, man. I'm out here while I'm living the life, and it's like this can't be the life. This can't be the life. This can't be. You know what I mean? Honestly, it looks stressful.
Yeah. Definitely looks
So
stressful.
that's just kind of how I see it. I think to me, it's like, again, it goes back to it being almost like a cry for help and attention.
Yeah. Well, like I said, for me, if I was Blueface, which he might not do, and I hate sometimes I feel like with these segments on Mondays, I feel like the easiest thing to do is to say not respond. But I will say I wouldn't respond if somebody acting crazy like that. Because one thing about me is I know how to make people look crazy. And this is coming from somebody who used to literally go back and forth with people. So for me now to be on that time where I'm like, I'm gonna just make you look crazy. I posted something on Instagram today where it says it was from the king of the trolls, Justin LeBoy, and he was talking about when basically when you hear about me falling out with somebody, you never hear it from me, you hear it from them. I don't say nothing, you wouldn't even know. And I love that with me because people be finding out I ain't cool with somebody because of them, because I ain't tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll bring them up and be like, they be like, yeah, say me and you done fell out. They be like, yeah, Nate did you see what he did? I said, no, I didn't get a chance to see it. Or somebody trying to be messy and they'll be like, when the last time you talked to Nate? I said, I ain't talked to him in a minute. I'm not gonna be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what you doing all that for? You want somebody to know so you can tell them what happened.
Yeah,
And
for sure. That's all it is. I want you to respond a certain way.
yeah, and with Soulja Boy, his response, like you said, is expected. But I feel like, granted, he was a troll much longer. That's how Holy Gabbana used to act. So anything is possible. Which is a great segue to this WWJD. What would Jesus do in this situation? So, I can use the Blueface thing in jail because, again, when we go to biblical references, a lot of people of God were locked up. And say, for instance, which I could foresee in the future, somebody does do something called by God and said that's biblically sound, and they go to jail for it, and then someone's clowning you online. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, you really, it's nothing you can do. You take it for what it is, and you kind of brush it to the wayside. Blueface, if he is locked up now, he has an opportunity to be like, yeah, nah, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually wasting time, energy, money, just doing the stupidest stuff instead of focusing on my craft and what's important, family. I'm out here arguing with this clown who we know ain't about to stop. He about to go on every radio show. He about to be running around online, standing on cars,
Yeah.
talking about this, and this, and watch a booty hole. And it's just like, am I really trying to see who's the pettiest? Am I really trying to argue with a fool?
Right. Now, Blueface a fool too. And he been actually lately he's been trolling more than Soulja Boy, and Blueface did kind of start it. But it's just that with Blueface, it's just like I said, he rebranded himself as a troll versus when he was just he's a you know the phrase "all money ain't good money." It's kind of like, you know, he's a marketing genius. All marketing geniuses, so they got some evil ones. So I feel like he's
Yeah,
the marketing evil genius because it's like you know, you just kind of on some, you just doing stuff for attention and you getting it, you getting the view, you know, you getting what you getting paid off of it. So you getting interviews from the biggest people. So in
that's all it
urban
really
media,
is. It's a money grab. It's like, let me stay relevant. Let me try to get these dollars. But to what point does this become super unhealthy for you? You know, where you just this can't be life. Because now it's like you said, I saw some of Holy Gabbana stuff. He was doing like a documentary joint. It's just like I have to now continue to be a troll and I need to be extreme because the attention span is so low. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna lose my followers if I don't troll somebody else because now they want me to do this.
my boy Fred in the comments, he said that I look at Soulja Boy like I look at these grown men playing stupid pranks on people for content. That's all it is, and it's a
Yeah,
game for them. And it's like Peter Pan; they never grew up, and then that's just
and it's a game till somebody really gets hurt too.
for sure,
It's
for
a game
sure,
till somebody really gets hurt where it's like, all right, this person ain't with that.
right. All right, y'all. So let's go into WSMD. What should men do? You know, I had a revelation the other day too. I keep using that word today, but some people are better in jail, and let me explain. Some people was wilding out so much in real life that if they didn't go to jail, they'd be dead.
Oh,
It's
facts. Oh
somebody
yeah,
I
I
know
got friends like that.
personally that
Yeah,
it's better that they in jail because they wasn't gonna stop because you reap what you sow. You keep putting out all that stuff in the earth, it's gonna come back to you. So
facts.
you know, you better in jail, and that's where you can get yourself together. And you know, but maybe I doubt it, but maybe this would be Blueface's, and you know where he has his encounter. I don't know, or he had that paradigm shift. Maybe that's what it will be, and if not, then you know maybe he'll have it eventually. But unfortunately, these type of people, it's not gonna stop until it's too late. That's the main thing. So again, as I said earlier, because as we wrapping this up, as I said earlier, a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So y'all should see the stuff these people doing and like, this gonna be me if I don't stop. You
Yeah.
know, um, and that's pretty much it. And in the comment about money, again, I'm gonna reference because I'm gonna put the link in the bio for those that didn't check it out. As a man, why do you have an OnlyFans account? And not as you, well, you shouldn't be indulging in the porn watching either, but from the standpoint of providing it, like I said in the episode, and I went real in depth with my boy Phenom. It makes sense for a woman to be laying it low and spreading it wide. As a man on camera, at all, but a camera is just kind of like, what are we doing here? So, and we unpacked that on that episode. So if you haven't checked it out, y'all should check that out. But again, in this situation, men, learn from the mistakes. That's all I say. Man, what should you do? Learn from the mistakes of others. Anything else you want to add before we go today?
Yeah, man. You know, first and foremost, thank you again for sharing your platform. Definitely learn from the mistakes of others. Think before you make these decisions, man. This social media world is different, man. You know, them comments, it's a beast out there. Um, I'm not telling you to use your platform as a motivational speaker or put quotes up. I'm not telling you to do none of that. You can do lifestyle stuff, whatever it is. Just know that this is your new business card. Like this is your new resume, whether you want it to be or not. It just is what it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I remember having jobs in the past a few years ago, and they would check your social media.
Mm-hmm.
When people like inquire about me, they go straight to social media. You know what I mean? It's just like they want to see certain things, and if they see you on there wilding, man, you don't understand the type of opportunities you may be missing
Yeah.
by just doing stupid stuff, man. So think before you act. Learn from these foolish dudes out here wilding out. Money is not everything. It's low hanging fruit. It comes and it goes. You know, you'll never have enough. You know what I mean? But be wise about how you utilize, and also wise about how you consume on these platforms, man.
Yeah.
Be careful with that because it's a never ending timeline. Our timelines don't end. You can scroll until your fingers fall off. Your finger will fall off before the timeline stop. And
No,
it'll
for
keep
real.
feeding you nonsense if that's what you want to keep consuming and liking. So be careful out here, y'all.
All right, y'all. So thank you. This is the for my boy Nate for pulling up on me, and also thank y'all for tuning in. As this was the first one back in over a month, and we'll keep these going every Monday until season 8. And next week I have another great guest, so that'll be good. And like I said, y'all, we're gonna spam Nate's comments, so we're gonna make sure he come on the season and next season, so he can get a real interview. This was just a discussion, so this will be the interview will actually be a little different. So PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make